Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So today, since it's May, I decided to do a mermaid doll. This was part of a huge collab posted on Instagram. There are a lot of other artists in it, so make sure to go and check it out on Instagram. Anyways, on with the video. For this doll, I decided to use Frankie as a base. This was the only doll I already had with a mermaid tail, so I decided to roll with it. For inspiration, I went over to Pinterest and made a small board. One of the artists which really caught my eye was Viktor Nitsyov, a Russian artist who does oil paintings of mermaids, and they were really beautiful, so I decided to take a lot of inspiration from that. One thing I did see about my Frankie though is that she didn't have a proper mermaid tail and more of an eel, so I decided to go for a bit more of a siren look, with a very long curling tail and slightly larger testicles. But let's get to colouring. Now for this doll, I decided that I was actually going to try and stick to my concept for once, instead of going wildly off the rails. Anyways, to start, take your acetone and remove all of her face paint. Do this in small circular motions and try not to smear the paint all around the face. With her face paint gone, we can now take out her hair, which had a sponge in it for some reason. No idea what it's for, probably just add volume to the hair. And now that that's done, we can look at her hair. Since I didn't have much hair, I decided to keep the original and chop out all the black bits, and replace it with some blue and purple which I had left over. I went in and took out all of the little stumpy bits so that I could put in all the black and purple. I wanted to keep it very close to the actual hair colour, because then I wouldn't have to change it a lot. But I think the purple adds a lot of colour and depth. Anyways, on to the face up, and let's put that hair away in the burrito for now. To start off with the doll, take your pastels and you can start on blushing. To do this, blush the main areas of the face, which are the eyes, lips and cheeks. And maybe a bit of the forehead if you're feeling particularly adventurous. Now that we're all done with the blushing, we can move on to the next step, which is going in with pencils to draw on the face. start off, go in with a colour very close to the skin tone to lightly sketch out the eyes. It'll be easier to erase and less noticeable if you go wrong. For some reason my pencils weren't taking too well, so I decided for this doll, let's have a go with acrylic paint. I tried to thin out the paint as much as possible by painting on my hand to get out all the big globby bits. As it turns out, I'm not very good at doing a full face of acrylics. So let's try again. Time to go back in and do the blushing again. Same rules as before. Do the eyes, cheeks, lips, and forehead if you're feeling adventurous. The blushing looks pretty good. Now onto the face up, which I completely forgot to record. Yay! For the highlights in her eyes, I added some small flecks of glitter. Now to add the varnish to the lips and eyes. Now let's remove all the hair from the burrito, shall we? I think it looks very pretty and nice, and I really think it goes with the face. Anyways, now onto the body. When removing her arms, I noticed that this doll has slightly different joints to the rest of the Monster Highs. Anyways, for this mermaid, we're going to need to remove these little knobbly bits on the side of her neck. To do this, I tried taking my needle nose pliers and just trying to break them off. But then I found out that these things are really stretchy for some reason. Anyways, now that they're all off and I've sanded it down, and I also sanded down all the little bits on her arm, we can get on to sculpting the chesticles. Take your 2-part epoxy sculpt and start trying to sculpt chesticles, which I completely failed to do here for a couple attempts. I got there in the end. I also heated her hair and put it under the sock of shame again to try and flatten it out a little bit. But now that those are all nice and sculpted and dry, we can go on and paint in some white base for the chesticles and add some Mr. Super Clear so that our paint takes nicely. For the colours and blushing on the body, I decided to use some little pearl dusts. I think I've used them in a couple dolls before, but I wanted to add some gradients to the arms and tails, so make sure to use this mixed with something so that it takes better. I ended up mixing mine with a bit of paint and a bit of glue so that it all sticks nicely and showed up slightly brighter. I'd say that looks pretty nice. The hair's dried and it's a little flatter this time. So let's go and reattach the head to the body. To do this, take the head and try very gently to squidge it on so that you don't crack your face up. But once that's done, I think it looks pretty good again. Now on to making some accessories and more glitzy stuff which I didn't add in the concept. For some reason, I just felt like she needed a star, so I took a wooden skewer and painted it silver. I then took 3 little pearls and attached them to the end of the stick. To go on top of the stick, I also made a small resin ring. I mixed some resin with the same purple pigment which I used on the body, and made a small ring. I also decided to tie everything together. I would use the resin to fill up all the tiny holes in her arms and fins. With all the resin dry, I just have to drill a little hole into it so it fits onto the stick. I also added some small little twinkly bits so that it looked a lot nicer. To add some more detail, I also made a small pearl crown out of the same pearls which I used on the bottom of the star. I also, with the leftover resin which dried in the little pot, made a small little resin triangle, and lots of other little pearls and bits got tied onto a string to make a small little chain which goes around her waist. And with her staff and everything in hand, she is done! I'm very happy with how she turned out. She always looks a bit looking down her nose and snobby and a bit too good for you. And for the name, I decided on Thetis, which is the name of Poseidon's wife. Although she is not as kind and nice as described in all the myths, I just still thought it's a pretty cool name. Anyways, I really hope that you guys all enjoyed this video. She was a lot of fun to make, and make sure to go and check out all the other artists who are in this collab. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!